I have built one of the best networks of, I think, any 22-year-old business owner in the entire world without being famous. And most people think the only way to build a massive, fucking incredible network is having some big online presence, but that's not the case at all. Most people that are real business owners don't actually have YouTube channels. They don't have social medias because they're too busy running an actual business. We're just skewed of thinking that these large business owners are online when that's not really the case at all. When you really have a large business, the last thing you're thinking about is being on social media. So first off, how do I have a network of where I'm hanging out with the most successful people in the entire world? First is the origin. When I was a young 18 or 17-year-old young Josh, I was hyper obsessed with business, and all I could think about was I was going to apprentice myself under someone, and I wanted to be in the macroeconomic space. That's what I had fun studying. So I wanted to apprentice myself somewhat under someone who was in like finance, macroeconomics, that had already run a business. So I was reaching out to every single hedge fund manager in the entire world, every single person that I could find, like just dozens and dozens of people per week, asking to work for people for free, asking to pay for work to work for people, because I understand that most employees suck. Everyone has employees that are not very good unless you structure a business around just a small group of great people. So I thought I could just, like, who would not want my free work? And I would work super hard. Well, fucking no one. No one even responded to me. No one wanted me to work for them because my free was expensive to them because I had nothing to provide of any sort of value except my time. And their time is worth so much more than talking to me. Period, point blank. Then eventually I got more extreme. I ended up getting this guy's logo tattooed on my leg and flew across the country and asked him for a job. He was just on YouTube, but he was retired, and he had a ton of friends that were large business owners, and I've learned so much from him. He's still one of my best friends to this day. I still work with him to a different degree, but he completely changed my life. He's my first mentor, always going to be one of my best friends for the rest of my life. I literally owe him everything. One of my goals over the next 18 months is actually to pay this guy a watch collection of every single dollar that he's ever paid me. And that would be like a thank you gift of saying, dude, I really, really appreciate you. So that is something that I'm excited forward to do. But what it really did is it got my foot in the door with all these successful people. And what you don't realize is it's very, very hard to start to hang out with very, very successful business owners. But if you can integrate yourself into these circles, it's very easy to stay there and start to compound your network. So all I did was I just took every single opportunity humanly possible at saying, hey, dude, you're going to this X place for this conference. Can I come with you? He was like, oh, sure. I was like, I'll pay for everything. I'll pay for my flight. I'll pay for the hotel. I just want to go. I want to learn. I want to meet people. And every single time that stemmed new relationships, a new network, new opportunities. And when all I had was time, I was making very little money. I had no opportunities. I was knowing that I just needed to get my foot in the door in as many places as humanly possible and get more opportunities. I have tons of time. I have tons of energy. I have tons of ambition, but I don't have real good opportunities. I'm not going to be going into these things thinking, what can I get from these people? But what can I give? How much value can I provide to as many people as humanly possible? And I eventually started working for dozens of people for free, helping them grow their YouTube channels, helping them do all these things, never asking for anything. I genuinely, because my goal was I wanted to learn, and I understood that if I could take 12 bats a week instead of one bat, I would get substantially better much quicker, and I would learn, and I would be able to provide more value. And I knew that to these people, if I could provide immense amounts of value, eventually that would pay off substantially. The world just runs on value, and people that run super large businesses provide tons of value at scale. So the first thing is give expecting nothing in returns for a very long period of time. If most people thought, I want to make $1 million per year 5 years from now instead of $10,000 this month, you would be substantially better off, because most of the time the chess move to make $1 million a year 5 years from now is substantially different than trying to make an extra few $1,000s per month today. But most young kids that I see, they're hyper focused with making $10,000 per month today, where today doesn't fucking matter. I mean, if you are on the side of the road and you have nothing, sure. But when you're young, most people just eat like shit. I just understood that. It's not like I have unlimited opportunities coming at me. If I did, then I could charge more money. I am the one that's actively pursuing this. I need the information. I need the knowledge. I need to get better. If I don't get better and I'm not useful to these people, then I'm going to lose all the opportunities that I currently have. So I need to get substantially better, so good in fact, that they are willing to pay me unlimited amounts of money to continue to do what I'm doing because I'm making them so much. So then I built my entire business so far only having a performance-based model where I was doing 100% of the work or hiring out independent contractors out of pocket for me, doing things only if we made them more money. And so it was the easiest agreement of all time for these other people because I would do all the work, I would take on all the risk, I would do everything, and I would only get paid if we were making like over what they were currently making. And I was just gonna get a small percentage of the additional revenue. And now, because I was able to do that, my biggest client that I have that I've never talked about, I've talked about all my other clients except for this one. That's how I started with him like a year and a half ago or 2 years ago, or a few years ago. I honestly don't. Time is just fucking irrelevant now. Everything is just moving so quickly. There's so much going on at all times. It was actually probably closer to 2 or 3 years ago now that I think about it. But now he's like by far my highest paying client because we've continuously had so much growth in the business. We've increased so many revenue streams. I've still just done everything. He is now by far my highest paying client. And it's not even a close second because we were willing to take risks together and everything worked out. The second highest paying client is another person that had started 100% performance-based model of like the shittest performance-based fee of all time, just so I could work for this guy because I wanted to learn from him. And my entire objective was to learn as much as humanly possible because this guy ran the largest business. He has a multi-billion-dollar business and I just wanted to learn from him. And I was providing a hyper useful skill that was going to allow me to be around him every single day and learn. And now he's completely changed my entire business. But now from him, we are making tons and tons and tons of money because we continued to add more and more value and add more performance-based models. We added more things. And now it's the best relationship ever. Same thing with all my clients. That is what you continue to do. Provide more and more value, and then you are irreplaceable, always just getting better at providing a better service and not asking for anything. It was really just always asking to, hey dude, I want to learn, I want to get better, give me more stuff. And business owners love to see the initiative. And then they introduce me to all their friends because they see the ambition and hunger that they used to have when they were a young guy. And then I'm actively asking, hey dude, what are you doing this weekend? If you're doing something cool, or if they say they're doing something, hey, can I come? I'd love to do this. I'd love to do this. I just was at a conference where the average business owner was doing over $40 million per year. I met some of the biggest CEOs and biggest founders of some of the biggest companies in the United States and a lot of big global companies because I was just relentless of saying, hey dude, I really want to go. That's a huge opportunity. I'd love to come. I covered everything. And it was a very expensive trip for me. I probably ended up spending like $12,000, $15,000 to go on this trip for a 3-day fucking weekend. And I didn't give a fuck because it's a better opportunity. And even though nothing directly happened from that conference, I would go 10 out of 10 every single time because I'm looking for more better opportunities and continuously getting myself into the best rooms. Now I've pretty much hit the peak of the best rooms humanly possible. And so now it's just sitting down, focused, doing the work, and then adding more and more clients. But this came after making the decision 4 years ago that I don't care about making $10,000 a month today. I want to make millions of dollars per year 5 years from now. And that's honestly seems like exactly what's going to happen. Thinking long term and not trying to make the short term dollar. And honestly, looking back, I've made the right decision. It seems like. And at the time, I was actually making videos. I was making videos fucking years ago saying, I don't know, here's what I'm doing, here's how I'm thinking long term, and here's how I think it's gonna play out. And looking back, I'm going to applaud myself because that was a great call, Josh. And now it was crystal clear to me then. And even now, it's still like, it was just 100% confirmed. And I think that a lot of people see all these Instagram kids that are 21 years old making $100,000 per month or whatever they quote that they're making. And then they think I'm a failure if I'm not also making that. And I have the same problem. I don't see those kids because most of them, I know that they're not really making as much money as they say that they are. They're really just selling the lifestyle and then selling some sort of course. But what I do is I compare myself to the guys that I work with that are 60 years old, that run billion-dollar companies. And then I'm with all their friends that have publicly traded companies, literally. And so I'm like, fuck, I need to have this massive empire-ish fucking publicly traded company because you compare yourself to the people that you see. So I have the same fucking problem, but I'm very much aware that these people that are 60 years old with publicly traded companies, all they did was stick to one thing for 30 years. It's a magical 30-year overnight success. Guess what? One of my clients is making so much ungodly amounts of money but he's fucking 65 years old. And what happens between compounding of focusedness and always staying in your batting lane and continuously just getting better and better, it compounds a fuck ton over time. So I'm no longer thinking, hey, like the 3 to 5 years, what's the outcome? It's what's the outcome 10 years from now with the decisions that I'm making today. And sometimes it's hard to think that far out, especially when you're super young. But that's actually what has the highest outsized returns. And it's not even close. It's not even close. So moral of the story is anyone can have a super high caliber network. You just have to kind of be relentless and understand that these people are super busy and your job is to make their lives easier and to just fucking be curious about them. I was always just very curious about these people and hyper interactive to anything that they were doing and willing to jump on any sort of opportunity ever. But it takes a lot of effort to get into those rooms. I mean, a lot of fucking effort. That was a super stressful time in my life. And now it's awesome. Now literally everything becomes easier.